So today I wanted to make a video to give you an update on my journey with body identical HRT. So it's been 5 months now that I've been taking it for. So in this video, I'm just going to give you a warts and all view of how my symptoms have changed, how I'm finding it, whether I'm liking it, whether or not the ways in which I'm using it are working for me, and I'm going to cover weight as well. So I hope you enjoy this video. Please do subscribe to my channel. Let me know if you like my content. And I've got blood tests next week and an appointment with a gynecologist. So I will be doing another update to check where my bloods are after I've had them. So please keep watching and let's jump in. One of the most difficult symptoms for me to navigate post-menopause, I'm 2 years post-menopause, was really low mood. And it was, I'm not really like that. I'm quite an enthusiastic person who is quite passionate about life and what I do. And it felt like that had just been completely taken away from me. And I felt really flat. I didn't have just kind of lost that spark and had this kind of almost like woke up in the morning with this feeling of kind of doom in my stomach. And normally I do certain things and it shifts it, but it wasn't shifting it this time. And just this sort of dark feeling, this kind of like dark cloud was kind of felt like it was hanging over me. And I'm pleased to say that went fairly quickly. I'm not sure if I mentioned it in my other video, but definitely now I feel back to myself. I'm starting new projects, I'm putting myself out there again, and I really didn't want to do that. I was really shrinking away, which, when you're a yoga teacher, when you need to use social media and that's how you connect to your audience, it's quite hard when you feel like you don't want to do that. So I would say that for me is a massive shift, and that is 100% because of the HRT, and it's made me feel myself. And my boyfriend, has said, God, why didn't you take this years ago? You just seem so much happier. Like silly little things like dancing in the morning around the kitchen and just having my mojo back. I feel like that, and that's definitely a massive shift for me, and that's massively affected my life. So that's like the first thing that I noticed. As many of you know, it's difficult to get HRT here in Spain. You do have to kind of say that you've got the standard symptoms like hot flashes, night sweats. You always have to say that to get it, basically. So when I went to the gynecologist and said that I've had really stiff joints, she completely said, well, that's not true. That's nothing to do with it. And that is true. Basically, women that are, as their estrogen is going lower, my estrogen was at 18 when I originally went for the HRT, you start to get inflammation in the body because there's estrogen receptors all over the body. So frozen shoulder is really common. I've got the bad shoulder again, just woke up with it. Lower back pain, knee pain, unexplained kind of aches and pains, getting more injured, stuff that you've done for years and suddenly you're like, oh my God, I'm injured again. And that is all connected with inflammation, and that is connected with estrogen, and there have been studies now to prove that. So when I go back and see my gynecologist, I will 100% be making sure that she sees that study and that she's aware to help women in the future to be more aware. Now, so with regards to my back pain, it has 100%, not 100% got better, but it has got better. Like I couldn't do like any exercise. The idea of doing weights or anything like that, I couldn't do it. I can do all that again now. So, I can do like a weights hit class with light weights. I'm still not using heavy weights yet, but I'm getting towards that. I can do that and I can walk the next day, whereas before I couldn't. So I would say that my back pain is probably about 70% better, but in the mornings I'm still really stiff. And occasionally it wakes me up at night, but not as much, but I'm still aware of it when I turn. So I think I'm going to make an appointment to see the rheumatologist just to see what they say and to get some more checks on my back, just because I would like a clear diagnosis on that. But it has definitely got better. I can teach yoga, I can do all the things I used to do. I can touch my toes, I can do forward bends, I can do all the stuff that I used to struggle with, and at some stages I couldn't teach. So I would say that's got about 70% better. So that is really good as well. The third thing was and this sort of happened in perimenopause, was this kind of thickening of my waist, you know, like almost overnight in perimenopause. It was like I used to, you know, put on weight in the winter. I lived in Ibiza and I put on weight in the winter, and then in the summer you just kind of lose it. And then it just kind of stopped, and it's like, oh God, I can't, I've just suddenly got this sort of square. I've always had quite a square, not much of a waist anyway, but it just sort of it changed. And that became really hard to lose. And I noticed my belly kind of growing more. And when I started the HRT, I found that I was eating more and like going to the, you know, just thinking about food all the time. And my boyfriend was like, oh my God, you have not stopped eating. And I started to think, oh my God, you know, you see people and they really balloon. And I thought, if I balloon like that, I won't want to be on it. So I was thinking, oh my God, I just don't know. Like I really am, like literally I'm eating all the time. And then I thought I've got to do something about this. And then at Christmas, I got sick. And at the same time, I was reading a book by Dr. Mindy Pelz on her new menopause book. And she's a big advocate of fasting. And I used to always fast, and I'd kind of stopped, you know. Menopause discourse is very, you know, don't fast, do fast, don't fast, do fast. And I thought, I'm going to try fasting again. I'm going to do some of the things that she said. So a couple of things. So I was eating all the time, and Christmas was coming up, and I was thinking, oh my God. So anyway, I read her book, and then I got really sick and lost my taste and smell. So food wasn't tasting so good anyway. So I lost a few kilos during that time. And then I was reading this book, and I thought, oh, well, some of the things, and I also discovered the glucose goddess. So both of them, I was listening, and Dr. Mindy Pelz was talking about longer fasts and playing with your fasting window. And I thought, I'm going to try fasting again, you know. I used to do 16-8, but it just didn't agree with me at the end. It was just too long a fast. So I thought I'll try again with like a 14-hour fast and see how that goes, you know, fasting for 14 and eating for, you know, having an eating window. So I thought I'll try that. And the other thing that she said was stop eating, don't eat, I think she says carbohydrates or chocolate when it's dark. If you're going to eat them in the day. And the glucose goddess, and I have to be, you know, I've got risk factors. It's another reason I went on HRT, because my dad had diabetes and I've got heart disease in my family. So sugar and insulin spikes are a big deal for me. I have to really be careful of them to protect against insulin resistance. And the glucose goddess says you can still eat sweet things, but you eat them after your main meal, and make sure you move your body after. So I kind of integrated these things, you know, when I started eating properly again. So basically, when I want my sweet treat, I have it after my biggest meal of the day, which for me is lunch. And then in the evening, I stop eating at 7 o'clock, nothing, just herbal tea after 7 o'clock. And then I eat the next morning, depending on my day, my schedule, kind of like 10, 11. Sometimes I go longer than that, 12, depending on how I feel. So I started all of these things. So my waist measurements, just to share this with you. So my weight had gone up to about 65.5, something like that. And I couldn't budge that weight. And my waist was 85 centimetres. And my weight went down to about 62 kilograms, but obviously I was sick. But now my waist is 80, so that's 5 centimetres off my waist, and my weight is 63.85, and I'm working on a program at the moment, so my weight probably will go down a bit more. Not that weight's important, but what is important, and this is what they say can happen with HRT, not always, is that your weight can distribute a little bit. So my boobs and my hips haven't changed, but my waist seems to have gone down a little bit. It's not quite as bloaty out. And other girls in my group, I've had other girls who said their boobs have got bigger as well because of the estrogen. That hasn't happened for me. So that's my kind of weight thing. And now, because of those things, I feel like I'm managing how I eat more, and I'm more on top of my weight. I'm definitely not eating at night, even though that's not easy for me. You know, I could easily sit there at 9 o'clock and be snacking on things, but I've completely stopped that as a way of weight management. So that's a positive thing, okay? The next thing is my libido hasn't changed at all. Okay, so I'm having the conversation with her again next week about testosterone. It's really difficult to get here. They say they don't give it to you at all in Spain, which is not true, because they do. I know people that have got it. If you want to get it, then do reach out to me. You just, there's a functional medicine doctor here that gives it to you, but you just need your testosterone levels checked. But I'm determined to get my gynecologist to prescribe it to me and to listen. So I've just asked her for vaginal estrogen. She's completely ignored that, but she's prescribed the other things that I asked for. And she said, we'll have a conversation about testosterone. So I'll feed back on that, because my mission this year is to get testosterone, because I really feel like I need it. Not from an energy perspective, but from a libido perspective, I would like to try it. And also for your muscles as well. It gets your muscles, a little bit firmer. It's good for the muscles and the joints. So that's the libido. That's not changed. Sleep. So my sleep, when I first started taking the progesterone, because progesterone, I take micronized progesterone and I take it vaginally. That at first I could really feel it and I was like, oh my God, I'm loving this. I felt that kind of woozy feeling. And that's kind of like petered off. But I think part of the reason for that is I've not been on my sleep hygiene and my coffee's been creeping up again. So now what I'm doing is I have like 1 cup of coffee. I've massively upped my movement in the day and I'm really focusing on that morning movement. And I'm getting back on my, blue screen hygiene. So no phone in the morning for at least an hour, no phone for at least an hour before bed. I'm going to try and up those as well, because that blue light really affects your sleep. And I'm also listening to like yoga nidra again before bed. So, and I did start taking melatonin, but I thought I don't want to get too used to that. I'll only take that if I have a really bad night. So my sleep, like I had a good night last night. It's a work in progress. As we age, our melatonin naturally starts to decrease. In our mid-60s, our melatonin's kind of really bottomed out. So yeah, sleep is a work in progress, really. I think if you take progesterone orally, then it has a stronger effect and it can make you feel a bit lower in mood and it can have a more of a soporific effect. So that's something I'm considering. Using it vaginally is a bit messy. They never give you enough applicators here and it kind of comes down throughout the night. So I don't know, I might switch over to the oral micronized progesterone to see how I feel with that. Yeah, and that's it really. So yeah, my mission is to get some testosterone this year, testosterone cream. Ideally through my private gynecologist, but if not, I'm going to try through this other doctor when I've got my bloods. I've just asked for a complete blood panel again so I can look at where my estrogen is now, to check my dosage. I take 2 to 3 pumps of Lenzetto. She said 1 to 2, but I know you can take more. So some days I have 2, some days I have 3. So I want to check where I am. I also want to get my vitamin D checked because it was checked in the summer and it was good, because that can be connected with back pain as well, and inflammation. And it's been quite a cold winter, so I might need a little bit of vitamin D, a bit more extra vitamin D. And I also want my testosterone, my progesterone, and my cholesterol to be checked, because now I've had like 5 months taking the hormone replacement. I want to see what's happened to my LDL or my HDL and see if my triglycerides and see what's happened. So so hopefully she'll run all of those bloods, and then once I've got that and I've had the meeting with my gynecologist, I will do another update, I promise. So probably in a couple of weeks I'll do another update. But do reach out to me, do comment. I'm a menopause coach. I do guide women on this journey. I have a Facebook group that I will tag, called Nourish to Flourish, and I'm currently running a 4-week program for women in perimenopause, which I will repeat this year as well. So do reach out, let me know how your journey is with HRT, how it's worked for you, and thank you for watching.